Hello everyone, the story I'm going to share today is Benevolence is worth thousands of gold. Mr. Liu Lishun was born in Qing County during the Qing Dynasty. His father died when he was a month old, and he was raised by his mother. Lishun paid great attention to his moral cultivation from the time he was a child, and he was valued by villagers. He passed state-level exam and became scholar in his early 20s, but he failed national-level exam 10 times. People around all felt sorry for his repeated bad luck in spite of his talent, but he was very calm in his heart. Later, he lived in a temple and read books every day. One day, he was concentrating on reading his classics when suddenly he heard miserable crying outside. He walked in the direction of crying around, and he saw two women sadly crying over leaving each other. Li Shun stepped over and asked what made them feeling so sad. The young woman told him that her husband had left home to do business 7 years ago and had not sent back any information. They were so poor and even could not fill their stomach. Her mother-in-law asked her to marry a businessman instead of dying of hunger. They had received 12 tills of silver from the businessman, and the daughter-in-law would be taken away the next day. They felt so sad because they had nowhere to turn for help, and cried bitterly at the time of leaving one another. When he learned the whole story, Li Shun said to them, "Don't worry, go home first. I will do my best to help you." The two women thanked him again and again and happily left. After they left, Li Shun asked his servant to take out 12 tills of silver. The servant protested that the silver was for paying taxes, but Li Shun replied firmly, "Saving people's lives is more important than anything else." He immediately wrote a letter in the name of the young woman's husband. In the letter, he said that he had left home for 7 years, during which time he had made 500 tills of silver, and that he would return home in a week. Then Li Shun asked a servant to deliver 12 tills of silver to the businessman. Receiving the silver and letter, the businessman came to the young woman's home. The woman showed the letter from her husband to him, and also told him that the silver he received was from her husband. Then he left. 2 weeks later, the husband truly came home, and the silver he brought home was almost the same as what Li Shun mentioned in the letter to the businessman. But when the mother mentioned the letter her son had written to them, the son became confused. The mother took out the letter and gave it to him, and the more the son read the letter, the stranger he felt. At last, he simply concluded, "This is God showing mercy on us. All we have to do is to thank God in the heaven." Several years later, the husband occasionally came to the temple where Li Shun was once studying and saw an inscription on the wall. It showed exactly the same handwriting as the letter his mother had given him. He knew that the letter must have been written by Li Shun. Thus, he and the whole family came to Li Shun's home and expressed their heartfelt gratitude to him. But Li Shun refused to admit that he had written it. The following year, in the 7th year of Qing Emperor, Li Shun again was on his way to the capital to take an imperial examination, which was held once every 3 years. This time, fortunately, he not only easily passed the exam, but also obtained the first place champion. In 30 years, he had tried 11 times, and he realized his dream on his 11th trip, when he had reached the age of 53. Emperor Chongzhen said with emotion, "Today I receive an old man with high morality, who repeatedly tried and failed on his road to success. Now, because of his great deeds and accumulated great merits, he won the first place in one fell swoop. Isn't this blessing he has accumulated?" Many people think that encountering good luck is a coincidence. In fact, coincidences are not accidental, and everything has causes and consequences. Li Lishun helped other people's urgent needs in spite of the dangers to himself. His benevolent and kind thoughts helped him accumulate a lot of virtue. That's why he had such a coincidental blessing. Thank you very much for listening to the story. More touching stories will be ready for you if you just subscribe it. Thank you again.